everyone, my name is Olivia. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a stay-at-home mom and I homeschool two kiddos. I have a 9-year-old son and I have a 5-year-old daughter. And today I'm going to do a flip through and a review of Blossom and Root's science curriculum. We've used several subjects from Blossom and Root. Well, they all have some positives. I have to say, our absolute favorite is the science, and even though we have left behind the rest of the subjects from Blossom and Root this year, we have kept science because it is such a beautiful curriculum, and I go into this a little bit in the flip through that I show you. Blossom and Root is extremely customizable for your family. You will see in the flip through guide, she has lots of options to make it as full of a curriculum as you want or as small of a curriculum as you want. Right now is curriculum buying time. It's the end of spring. We're all looking at what worked and what didn't work from the last year for homeschool. We're looking into, are we going to repurchase or look into something new for this next coming year? And I do hear from a lot of parents that there's just so many science curriculums out there and they're kind of hard to look into and see how they work. And Blossom and Root is a PDF only. She does not send, I'm gonna say she sometimes, and I'm talking about the owner, creator, Christina. But Blossom and Root does not send out hard copies of any of their curriculum. They send you PDFs, you keep them forever. If there's ever updates, I have gotten emails here and there for how she's updated or added to different curriculums, and she will just send you those to re-download via email that you had logged in with, that you had purchased with. I showed you all the components that you get when you purchase Blossom and Root. You are going to get a parent guide that tells you what you should expect to do for that week of what you're learning, and it gives you all of your materials that you're going to need as far as book lists and if you're going to utilize the video portion of the curriculum. And then you get a laboratory guide, which is going to give you all of your materials and your steps if you want to incorporate labs. And then there's a student notebook that's kind of like the catch-all for what is it that your kiddo is actually retaining or learning or finds interesting or fun. And I give you examples of how we use those in our homeschool space in the flip through and the review. I touch briefly on the fact that this is a secular curriculum, and even though we are a faith-based family, we still find all of the ways to make this work for us. And I find so much value in all of the components of really utilizing the spine and the videos and the books and some of the labs if you're more artsy and hands-on, as well as that student notebook to kind of catch all for everything in case I ever need to show anybody what it is that we did in science or for us to hold on to and to look back on. I go into it in a little bit of detail in the flip through, but basically I keep what we love, and the rest that does not align with our biblical views is a discussion for us and our family. And also, it's important for me that my kiddos are able to hold conversations and understand where other people are coming from, because this is a world full of lots and lots of opinions. And when they are the age they are now, older kiddos, adults, they're going to be conversing with people that are going to believe in the evolutionary model. And it's important for me that my kids know where they're coming from and what they're talking about when they are discussing it. And I don't think it takes away anything at all from our biblical truths that we know and that we hold and glorify in our home. So anyway, if you have been hearing about Blossom and Root, considering it, wanting to have a little bit deeper of a dive, hopefully I did an okay job of the flip through and review. I did discuss how I use this curriculum and plan it for a week's worth of learning in our home. I know everybody does this differently. And when I am saying we were only on week 11, it's because when we do every other week, which means we only get through about half of the curriculum a year, that's because last year we were doing the plant and fungi kingdom, and so we still had like a third of this left to get through at the beginning of this school year, and then we moved in to the year 3 Blossom and Root. And let's just jump right in. What I have here are the 4 levels or years that I have purchased so far of Blossom and Root's elementary science curriculum. And I'm going to flip through the one we currently are on because right now I do have the other elements out that go along with this curriculum because this is the one we are currently on. But I will give you a quick peek at the ones I have so far. This is year 1, and I know that this looks awful. Imagine a gorgeous, like, blue geode cover. My ink on my printer ran out when I was trying to print this myself. This is before I found homeschool printing companies. Anyway, this is Wonders of the Earth and Sky. And what you're going to be learning about here, you're going to be learning about rock formation, earth formation, volcanoes, landforms, I'm pretty sure bodies of water. Water cycle. And you're going to be learning about some seasons, a weather unit, there's tornadoes, rainbows, lots of different super cool things in here. You're gonna see the same kind of layout for all of the years. Here is the Wonders of the Plant and Fungi Kingdom. We wrapped this up last year and this was beautiful and so much fun. This year, you are going to go through sunlight, what plants need, spores, roots and stems. You're basically going to go from the bottom up, and then you're going to split into different kinds of plants and different attributes of those different kinds of plants on here. And then you're also going to get into fungi here. So again, the setup is the same in each of the parent guides. And I'm going to deep dive into the Animal Kingdom one that we are going through right now. A quick flip through of the Animal Kingdom guide. So for this curriculum, you're going to be going over the Animal Kingdom in general. You are going to have an evolution wonder or week in here, history of animal life. And then it basically starts at the least complex animals, and then it moves up, and then it goes into ecosystems. Again, the inside looks very, very similar. I did already purchase next year's because Blossom and Root was having their spring sale. The Wonders of the Physical World here. In here, we're going to cover this year's units are a lot more complex after flipping through this. I have not done this, like taught this one yet. You're going to go over some physics sorts of things. So you're going to go through some physics and engineering of structures and movement. You're going to go into matter and energy. And then there also is an anatomy profile at the end. Flipping through this, I can already tell that we are going to have to split this up differently than we did in the other years because these are just heftier topics, especially in the beginning. So where the minimalism or the like main picture examples are, you have a lot more to understand for each one. And then I can imagine, I have not looked through it, but I can imagine that the labs are going to be a lot more involved than they are for, say, like the plant or the animal ones. But similar layout. So let me deep dive into the animal one for you guys a little bit. When you purchase the Blossom and Root Science Curriculum, you are going to be given a PDF for a parent guide, a PDF for the laboratory guide, and a PDF for the student guide. This is consistent through all of the years. All right, so let me show you kind of what the rundown is going to be for Blossom and Root Elementary Science. This is an example using year 3, Wonders of the Animal Kingdom. So she has them broken up into wonders, and the wonders are basically like what you would look into each week if you were following this, trying to get through each topic in each week, because there are 36 of them, like a typical school week. I like that she calls them wonders because it kind of takes a little bit of the stress off of you thinking that you're getting behind. Like, we're 3/4 of the way through our school year and we are on Wonder 11 right now, and that's because we do science one week and history the other, and we go back and forth like that. But like you saw in the quick flip through, the layout is basically the same and she keeps it consistent throughout. So what you're going to do is you're going to be introduced to the topic for that week. I'm going to call it a week. You don't have to use it as a week, but just because I know I'm going to keep saying week on accident, I'm talking about the wonders, okay? So you're going to be introduced to that week, and for the whole book, in the beginning, she's going to tell you what the spine for each year is, and that spine is going to be where you're going to get the main book that you are going to get the bare minimum but most important chunk of your information for the wonder from. Really, with the big picture messages and that spine, that is all that she suggests is necessary to learn about for the topic for that week. But she includes more if you want to do a deeper dive into each topic. So what you're going to see is on this page, she's going to introduce it to you, and then she's going to talk about the main big picture messages to focus on for each unit. And she's going to pull out here in bold the most important topics for this unit right here. And then a lot of them have possible rabbit trails, which means if you want to deep dive into this week or unit, somehow you could go this way. She gives some suggestions. But if you're like, we are not a science heavy family, we really just want to cover some topics and get through the year so that we can cover a curriculum and introduce a little bit and check it off, she gives a route for that, and she calls it the minimalist route. Okay, so she's going to lay out some pages for each of the topics that you can get the most important chunks of information about the topic from in that spine. So you would go through the big picture messages, read your spine, and you guys can be done with your week. Then if you want to not do this at all and you're just a book basket fan, or add to it, so these are going to be some different either text or fiction books or picture nonfiction books that she has listed out that are appropriate for the topic of what you're learning. And these are different every week. She also has a main book list for all of the books that she suggests for each year in the front of the parent guide. Then if you want to add to it, or you guys are not huge book basket fans, you don't have access to a library, or my trick is when we don't, I either forget to pre-order these, we don't have time to go and look up these at the library, then I type in these names on YouTube and I put the name and title, the title and the author of each of these books, and then read aloud online on YouTube. And I would say about 85% of the books for all of the years and all of these wonders I have been able to find as read alouds on YouTube. And so I am super thankful because my kiddos love learning through these books. There's also YouTube videos on each of the wonders for each of the years. She has curated a video option for you to, most of them are from YouTube. Sometimes she will also suggest some Magic School Bus or Octonauts or Wildcat, something similar that is in general kid appropriate. Obviously, like, please screen the videos before you tell your child to read them, because that's on you, of what you think is most appropriate. But she does list some videos here. So when I'm prepping at the beginning of the week, I make a read aloud playlist on YouTube, and I make a video playlist on YouTube, and I play them on different days. She also has a lab guide, and the lab guide for each of the wonders has different labs suggested for you to use. I'm gonna go ahead and say for the plant and animal labs, we do not do a whole lot of them, but we did do quite a bit for the year one, the wonders of the earth and sky. We just have not gotten a chance to, but a lot of people who are really looking for that Waldorf or that hands-on, the art part of curriculum, because that's just a way that your child learns really well, or you guys just enjoy including that. She has lots of different labs for each unit. She has one that maybe the outdoor learners will really enjoy best. The people who want to do things right there on the table will learn best this way. And then an arts and crafts lab suggestions here. She also includes a student notebook, and I will show you how my son, who is 9, writes in his. This is going to be consistently through year 3, which is what we are on, and this is the 3rd year that I have taught Blossom and Root Science. It's going to be consistently set up like this. There's going to be big picture messages for each of the units. There's going to be a minimalist route, a book basket option. These are some videos, some labs, and then the student notebook component. This is the lab guide that accompanies the parent guide when you purchase the science curriculum through Blossom and Root. This is the lab guide, and like in Wonder 11, Newts and Salamanders, there are some lab suggestions that she has put together for you to include in your learning that week, if doing labs is something that works for your family and your kiddos. And here are the suggestions that she has for this unit. So an example, for the outdoor learner, she's suggesting salamander search, a place to look for salamanders outside. And then she has a suggestion of different things that you can do to complete that. For the outdoor learner, pond/pool cleanup. Again, she has some examples here. Another example for an outdoor learner would be make a home for a salamander, and she goes into it here. For the tabletop crowd, water pollutant experiment, she lists the different materials you'll need and then directions for it. There's another tabletop lab suggestion here for this unit, and salamander egg lemonade. She lists some materials and then the directions for what to do. The craft families, she has 2 here for this unit. Popsicle stick salamander, a list of materials, what to do. Vernal pool challenge, a list of materials and what to do. You don't always have multiples for every type of learner, and not every type of learner lab will have the same amount of labs for each unit, but this is an example of the lab guide and what to expect for what the parent guide suggests for you. And then also, when you buy the science curriculum, you're going to get the parent guide, the lab guide I just showed you, and the student notebook. The student notebook all look like these as well. The layouts are the exact same through year 3. I just looked into year 4 and they are a little bit different. But for year 3, this is what you can expect, is there's a pretty big sized box underneath each of the unit, week, and names for you to draw a picture or paste something in or take a picture and tape it in. And then there are lines down here for your learner to write in something that they remembered for the week, or for you to annotate for them. So when we were doing year 1 and halfway through year 2, I would ask my son what he wants me to write that he thought was important, or something he thought was fun, or what he remembered from the wonder that we had just learned. And I would write it down here and he would draw a picture. Now I just ask him to write anything. I don't have it very specific. I don't want to, I don't ask him, tell me what the life cycle of a salamander is, and he has to memorize it. If that's something that's working for you and your family and you like to specify what it is that you want them to go into, this is a blank page for you to make it what you need to do. I just ask for my son to write something he thought was fun or interesting or something that he remembered. I don't have a specific sentence number that I want him to write. I don't have any specific facts that I want him to write. I just want to see what it was that stuck in his mind that he learned that week about that unit. I asked him if I could show this page, and he said yes. This is his newts and salamanders page. He drew a picture of each, and he wrote, newts and salamanders are actually the same type of animal, but salamanders need more water so they can stay moist, I hate that word, and not dry up, while newts prefer riverbeds where it's very moist but not really wet. So this is what stuck in his mind about this topic. This is all he wanted to write, and I'm totally okay with that. I completely forgot to single side this when I requested it from the printer, but if you have a kiddo who likes to draw extra or write extra, I would definitely suggest getting it only single-sided so they have a full blank back page that they can add to however they want. Say you guys go on lots of nature hikes or nature walks and you want something to be able to paste some pictures that you guys took out onto it as like a memory book or a keepsake that way, that would be super fun. But this is the third component that is included for you in the science curriculum when you buy it. An example of how I break up my week teaching each one of these wonders is on day one, we go through the big picture messages and read from the spine and discuss this. We have a 4-day school week most of the time. Day two, I take either my physical books that I have prepared ahead of time and gotten from the library on my organized days. We'll read through some of our book basket books. If I did not have that sort of organized week, I pull up my playlist from YouTube of the read alouds I could find, and we watch through the books. So say this is Monday, this is Tuesday. On Wednesday, we will watch the YouTube videos, and on day 4, we always do our entry in our student notebook. On the days that we can get to the lab guides, it just depends what day I fit that in based off of how heavy of another reading or writing day or what have you with our other subjects that we have, and I will fit in a lab that way. We are a nature-loving family. We are part of some nature co-ops. We go out and about a lot, and so some of this stuff kind of comes up anyway when we're out, and it doesn't necessarily happen as far as like the nature walks or what have you. This doesn't always happen because it's in a lab. So if you are trying to find a way to fit some nature things back in, this is a great option for you, is to try to fit in some of these outdoor activities with your kiddos that have been included in the laboratory guide. I did have some specific questions by a young earth family that is faith-based and does not believe in the evolutionary model or theory. And I do want to say this is a secular curriculum. My family is also a faith-based family, and I try really hard to bring things into our learning space that are going to glorify God. That is just what's important to our family. We have been able to make this curriculum work for us for a few reasons. One, I love the customization that you can do. There may just be some weeks where we can't get to both all of the books and the videos and do labs, and this is still a complete curriculum and it can still work for us. Being able to customize this in the way that works best for our family has been invaluable to me. In all of the years, her curriculum is taught through the evolutionary model. And so you are going to learn about weathering and erosion that happens thousands and millions of years. You're going to learn about rock formation that happens over thousands of millions of years. And I personally don't shy away from teaching the evolutionary model. My children are living in this world with people that believe lots of different things. and have an understanding of the way the world works from a certain point of view. And it's important for me that they can be able to understand and have a full conversation with their peers, with adults, and understand what they're talking about and have a normal discussion and a normal argument if they ever want to discuss where they're coming from and their point of view, so that they're not ignorant to what it is other people are talking about. It's going to be expected of them to understand the evolutionary model when it comes to science. And so I am not going to avoid teaching them that, especially because I believe in our faith and I think our faith is strong, and it is not scary for me to teach this way. But just like there are families who decide not to buy faith-based materials because they think that, it is just, they're either secularly based 100%, whereas they don't believe or teach from a Christ point of view, or they may be a different religion like Jewish or Buddhism or what have you. And it's really hard to remove the Christ-centered message from some of the Christian curriculum that we have access to. And so they just, even though it's a great curriculum, they skip away from that. And I understand that. I understand coming from that that's not a curriculum for them. Just like if you think that there may be too much for you to remove from a secular evolutionary science point of view for your family, this may not be the curriculum for you. I find that when there is something that suggests to evolution, this is a good opportunity for discussion for us and to bring God back into it and discuss that way. I am all for what works for me may not work for you. What works for you may not work for me. I am able to take what I love from this curriculum and leave what I don't. And that has been the way that this can work for us. So yes, every single year is going to come from an evolutionary standpoint. And not just what she includes in the big picture messages, but also when you go through these videos, they're probably going to discuss and talk about millions of years, thousands of years. So if those are not conversations that you're ready to have yet with your child, I would try and look at the samples that she has on her page. Again, even in the plants year, you are going to learn about the first plants and how they explain evolution starting from the first plant and then the least complex type of plant and life cycle system into the more complex plants that we see. Okay, guys, I hope that if you've been curious about this curriculum, the flip through that I did and the review was helpful for you. Something I did want to touch on is she calls them year 3, year 2, year 1, but these are really accessible for students of all ages. You can teach family style with this if you want to. You just add more or remove some for the kiddos that need that, depending on what their age level is and what they can retain and how much you're wanting to give them each week. So I have a student notebook printed out for she's pre-K, but she's kindergarten, my 5-year-old daughter. And she just tells me what it was that she thought was fun or she remembered from the week. And she draws a picture and I do the writing. Really, if you are looking for something that can be a family style where you don't have to buy a third-year science, a second-year science, a first-year science for your third, second, and first grader, if you have all of them or what have you, you don't need to do that. You can absolutely teach family style here. Just have your kiddo read more books or have your kiddo watch more of the videos if they can take on that heavier load, and maybe just look through the picture books with your younger kiddos and then ask them what it is that they remember, or maybe include some more of the labs for your older learners so that they have a more hands-on involvement with the science. But at least I just bought year 4, and year 4 does look a little more in-depth and a little heavier. just because of the subject matter, it really goes into like mechanics of like physics and engineering, and there is a body anatomy portion of it, the second half of the curriculum. But as far as year 1, 2, and 3, which we have bought and used each of those years, you could interchange any of these years for 3rd or 2nd or 1st grade, and I would say that it absolutely applies. I would even say if you're starting as a later learner, like, 5th or something like that, 5th or even 4th, and you never got to cover plants or animals, or year 1 is wonders of the earth and sky, and that's all about weather, rock formation, that sort of thing. And I think that these can still absolutely be applicable for kiddos of that age as well. If you guys have any further questions or want some clarity on something, don't hesitate to put it in the comment box down below. Let me know if you guys have used Blossom and Root and what you guys think about it. If you guys are maybe going to be considering it after you've seen it. Thanks guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.